Welcome to Middle East Minute by Al Monitor. From our studio in New York, I'm Adam Lucente. Here are the headlines we're looking at across the region. Today is Monday, August 24th, 2026. Pakistani Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir is visiting Iran on Monday for talks with officials. He will be accompanied by Pakistani Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi, and the trip will focus on regional peace and stability, the army said in a brief statement. Reuters reported that Munir spoke to U.S. President Donald Trump last week, with one Pakistani source telling the outlet that the American request was to bring Iran back to the negotiating table. Omani Foreign Minister Badr el-Busaidi will visit Tehran on Tuesday for talks, the Iranian Foreign Ministry announced on Monday. Oman has been discussing with Iran management of the Strait of Hormuz and has likewise mediated between Tehran and Washington in the past. There have been no known direct U.S.-Iran talks since the June Memorandum of Understanding, which collapsed in July. Trump threatened an economic war against Iran last week, and the rial hit a record low of 2.02 million to the U.S. dollar on Monday. The currency traded at around 1.6 million rials to the dollar in February before the war, already a steep decline from years prior, and food prices have skyrocketed amid the current conflict. Iran's Persian Gulf Strait Authority published late Sunday a list of 45 tankers it deemed non-compliant with its rules for traversing the Strait of Hormuz, threatening them with fines and confiscation. The list included vessels of the UAE state-owned oil company ADNOC and Saudi Arabia's national shipping carrier Bahri. On Saturday, Iranian state media reported that Tehran had granted permission to several Iraqi oil tankers to pass through Hormuz, following repeated requests from Baghdad. The shipping data firm Kepler said less than 20 ships passed the strait over the weekend. U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright said on Friday that the 7-day average of oil leaving Hormuz is above 8 million barrels per day, compared to around 20 million barrels per day before the war. Syrian state media reported that Syria held de-escalation talks with Israel in Jordan on Sunday, following a spike in tensions after an Israeli strike on a Syrian base last week that was reportedly in response to Turkish forces being present there. Damascus said the talks were mediated by the U.S., and Agence France-Presse reported that Syrian Foreign Minister Assad Ashebani and Israeli spy chief Roman Goffman participated. Last week's strike prompted numerous threats from both Israeli and Turkish officials addressed to the other country. Israel and Syria last held de-escalation talks in Paris in January, and Israeli operations in southern Syria near the border are ongoing. On Saturday, Israel carried out a strike outside of Damascus it said targeted a terrorist. Syria said the strike targeted a civilian vehicle. In other news, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman is currently in France, and a number of cooperation deals are expected to be signed on Monday. And a major Emirati economic delegation is expected to visit Lebanon on Wednesday and Thursday. Thanks for listening to Middle East Minute. For the links to these stories and to keep up with headlines from across the region, visit almonitor.com. and subscribe to Middle East Minute on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, I'm Adam Lucente.